I really want this vlog to be a realistic week in my life. I've DNF'd 2 books recently. It is the hottest day of the year. The ending was so intense and emotional. I was sobbing. Welcome to a new weekly reading vlog. It has been so long since I last did a casual weekly reading vlog like this, but I thought I would give it a go this week. I'm pretty sure every single vlog that I've filmed so far this year has either had some kind of theme or it's taken me a few weeks to film it in total. So yeah, this week we're just doing a weekly vlog and I'm really excited because I feel like this is going to be more casual and chatty. I need to remember to check in with you actually every day because otherwise I'm not going to have much footage at the end of the week. But I thought I would kick things off by telling you about my current read. Oh, also, I've DNF'd 2 books recently, which I wanted to talk to you about because I rarely DNF books, and one of them I'm really upset about. So I'll tell you about that after I tell you about my current read. I am currently reading Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is my physical read at the moment. The 2 books that I DNF'd were audiobooks, by the way. But this is what I'm currently reading on my Kindle and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm only 50 pages in. I read the first 50 pages last night and already it just feels so good to be reading Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing because it's been so long since I've read one of her books. I've read her entire backlist because I'm a huge fan, in case you don't know. And the synopsis for this sounded so intriguing. As soon as I heard it, I thought, yes, this sounds like it's going to be really good. We're following a main character who I think is called Joan, and she is one of the first women, one of the first female scientists to be chosen to join the space shuttle program with NASA. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you right now because I've only read the first 50 pages. The 2 books that I've DNF'd so far this week, like I said, they are audiobooks. I find that with audiobooks, I'm much more harsh. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm much quicker to DNF because if I don't like an audiobook, then I literally can't make myself pay attention to it and then I end up getting lost and I feel like what's the point? I might as well just listen to music or try a different audiobook. But the first of the books that I DNF'd was Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake, and I'm so upset about this because this was one of my most anticipated books of the year. I really liked the Atlas 6 trilogy by Olivia Blake. I think I read that last year, and so yeah, the synopsis for this as well sounded like it was going to be really intriguing. We're following these 3 siblings. The eldest is Meredith and she is very business focused. She's about to launch an app that claims to be able to cure depression. It's on the audiobook, the way that it phrases it is all the marketing says, this app will make you happy, and like I can't get it out of my head. The audiobook narrator, I will say, is really good. It's narrated by the same narrator who did the Vera Wong series, which I love, so that's why I wanted to try the audiobook because I already know I like the narrator, but a good narrator just can't save a book that I'm finding boring. I found this really boring. I was telling you about the characters. So the second eldest is called Arthur and he is a politician. I think what Olivia Blake was trying to do with this book was show the different ways that privilege can affect a person. So with Meredith, she came across as very entitled, whereas Arthur came across as a bit clueless. Like I said, he's a politician. He got elected based on these very left-leaning ideas. However, he didn't really do anything once he was elected. And in his words, don't people know how difficult it is? Yeah, he wasn't my favourite character. I found him quite frustrating. Maybe I was meant to. Then the youngest character is called Ailey, and she is presented as someone who is maybe more likeable than the other 2, but still she's not really doing anything. She's not motivated to really do anything with her life. She was hoping to become a dancer, a ballerina, I think it was, but an accident meant that she couldn't pursue that. So she's working in her father's marketing team. She's a marketing director for her father's company. At the start of the book, you learn that these characters' dad has passed away. And I was expecting, so it says in the synopsis that this is about who ends up inheriting the company. And I was expecting the will reading to happen quite early in the book, and it hasn't happened yet. I was 50% of the way through. So it's not really about that. Like, it's very character driven. There is basically no plot. And the thing is, I can see someone reading reading this and really loving it because the characters are really well developed. It has a very particular tone as well, the writing style. You have this narrator who is telling you the story. Every so often it will break the fourth wall, which I don't like. I don't like it when books do that, but it does have a very distinctive writing style, and I think some people would absolutely love this. If you find the characters super interesting and you're okay reading like 500 pages of just description of them and their interactions with people, them realizing stuff about themselves and their relationships, then I think this could really work for you. But I got to about halfway through, which is about 250 pages, and I realized I just didn't care. Like, I didn't care who ended up inheriting this company. I felt like I'd got enough out of the book. The characters had been established. I didn't want to read more about them. So yeah, disappointed that I didn't end up loving this one, but I'm not going to listen to it. I could feel myself in the last like few chapters that I was listening to. I wasn't paying attention, so DNF'd that one. And then to try and get myself out of the slump I felt like I was falling into, in terms of audiobooks, like my physical reading has been absolutely fine, but I felt like I wasn't really wanting to listen to an audiobook because I was struggling so much with Gifted and Talented. So I decided to start The Tenant by Frida McFadden. Realised pretty quickly that it was a big mistake. I DNF'd it after like 5 chapters. This is following a guy who works in marketing, and the way the book opens was just really, it was a struggle for me because this guy gets called into his boss's office and his boss basically fires him without any real explanation. He says, I know what you did. You told our competitors about this campaign and you've revealed all of our secrets. I am so angry and you're fired. And this guy is trying to, like the main character is trying to say, well, hang on a minute, like where has this come from? I haven't done anything. But his boss was just not listening, didn't want to hear it. And I found it so frustrating. Like, how is this realistic? Maybe it's, I don't know, like a cultural thing, because in the UK, it would just not happen. HR would get involved. You would find some way of being able to contact this company to plead your case. And it just, the setup to me felt so unrealistic. And I know the rest of the book, basically him and his partner bring in a tenant to help pay the bills because he's obviously not earning, he's not got a job. And I just thought, I don't care. Again, like, this is the struggle. I need a book that makes me care. So I'm going to have a look through BookBeat probably today or tomorrow and try and find another audiobook that I want to listen to, because the last few days I've been driving to and from the office, I've just been listening to music, which has been great because I like music, but I want to get back into audiobooks. So yeah, I feel like I've been rambling for quite a while. Hopefully I will remember to check in with you tomorrow. I really want this vlog to be a realistic week in my life, what I'm reading, what I'm doing, and all of that kind of stuff. So my plan is to try and check in with you every single day over the next week. We'll see if it actually happens. I almost forgot today because I only read 30 pages last night. I say only read. I read 30 pages. I only had time to read for half an hour because by the time I got myself settled after work, it was 8:30 and Love Island starts at 9. So I didn't read as much as I wanted to yesterday evening. I don't really have many more thoughts on Atmosphere other than what I shared last night. But this is my Friday night check-in. You know, I am going to check in with you every single day if I can. Eventually I will have some more thoughts on Atmosphere. Hopefully I can read another 100 pages this evening and then I can check in with you tomorrow. My partner's family are coming down to visit tomorrow afternoon. I think they're getting here, so I don't know if I'm going to do much reading tomorrow. Maybe first thing in the morning when I wake up, but I also have some other vlog clips that I need to film. I need to wrap up my latest Malazan vlog, which took me a lot longer to film than I was expecting, but I need to do that in the morning. And then I think that's it actually. Me and my partner are also going to do a discussion for House of Chains, which is the latest Malazan book that I've just read. So we need to find a time that's suitable for us both to film that. Maybe I'll do that on Sunday. All of that rambling aside, I did end up starting a new audiobook and I think this was a good decision. We'll see. But I decided to continue in a series that I have been really enjoying. It's been a while since I read the second book, but the third book came out a while ago, and I've had it on my radar because I liked the first 2 books in this series, but it's quite, I was going to say it's a long series. The books are quite long. I think they're on average around 500 to 600 pages. So the audiobooks therefore are also quite a bit longer than I'm used to listening to. But I started The Kill List by Nadine Matheson. I need to stop rambling when I'm filming these vlogs. I am trying to get better at not editing myself. I still don't do a very good job, but sometimes I listen to myself back and I think, wow, you really, really need to learn not to talk so much. No one cares, but I mean, you're here for the books. So I guess if I'm rambling about books, then that's not as bad. I started The Kill List on my lunch break, and yeah, this is good so far. I wouldn't recommend reading this series out of order. I would recommend starting with the first book, which is called The Jigsaw Man. The second is The Binding Room, I think. But because there's a lot of character development that's done in the first 2 books, I think you'd be missing out if you started with book 3, even though each case wraps up in each book. So in this one, we're following the same team of police detectives in London, and they're investigating, actually no, they're not investigating in this one. What am I on about? Basically, the main character is called Angelica Henley. She's a DI, I think, and when she was 15, her best friend was killed by a serial killer, and she gave evidence. She was a witness. She then went on to end up working with the detective who was in charge of that case. He, I think, has now passed away, but in the present day, the guy who was convicted of being the serial killer, he's now contesting his conviction, and Angelica Henley has been contacted by his lawyer, and that's about as far as I got. It's a really intriguing premise, I feel. It's an interesting twist on what would otherwise be quite a generic plot for a crime novel. I will say this series feels more like a crime drama rather than a crime thriller series. It's not the most thrilling, and it doesn't have loads of twists and turns, maybe a few. It's been a while since I read the second book, but I'd recommend this more if you're looking for dark fiction. So I will hopefully continue reading this throughout the week. It is quite a long audiobook, so I don't know whether I'm going to finish it before the end of the week, but I'll do my best. I need to go and do my workout now before my partner gets home from work. Not that I couldn't work out if he was home, but I would just rather get like my workout done and then be able to relax for the rest of the evening. And then yeah, I'll check in with you, hopefully with some reading updates in the morning. I don't know why I said I was going to try and update you every day this week, because that was really ambitious. I knew I wasn't going to have time yesterday. It's now Sunday. Yesterday, my partner's family came down to visit, so we went into town and then we went out for some drinks in the evening. It was really nice. We were so lucky with the weather. And then we got back around 9 o'clock in the evening and watched a film. I'd never seen it before. It's called Happy Death Day, and apparently there's a second one, which I would definitely like to watch because I really enjoyed the first one. I am not like a huge horror movie fan. I'm not even a huge horror book fan. I think it's because I'm quite particular the type of horror that I like. I either want to be scared or I want it to have some kind of social commentary, and I don't feel like this movie really does either, so it maybe shouldn't have been something that I liked, but it has a Groundhog Day type premise, and that is something that I do enjoy. So we're following this girl, she's in college and she's reliving the same day over and over again. It's her birthday, but it's also her death day. Someone is trying to kill her, and so every evening she dies and she wakes up and it's that morning again, and it's this never-ending cycle. And yeah, I really liked it. It didn't go in the direction that I was expecting. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, but it had some interesting twists, and yeah, would like to watch the second film at some point. In terms of reading, I didn't read anything yesterday. However, I did read quite a bit on Friday night, so I'm now now around 60% of the way through Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'm really enjoying this. I feel like it hasn't gripped me as quickly as the other books that I've read by Taylor Jenkins Reid, but I really like following a character who has a passion about something, and the main character Joan is passionate about space and becoming an astronaut. This does a really good job of developing the characters because Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of my favourite character writers. It's also a love story. There's a sapphic romance that's developing between Joan and one of the other women who's on this programme. I don't know how much to say. This is something that I really struggle with when I'm reviewing new releases because I don't know how much people want to know about the plot and what to expect. So I think just to be safe, I'm going to talk more about the main character. So Joan is someone, she's very intelligent, she's clearly very, very clever, and she's always prioritised her pursuit of knowledge, and then this opportunity comes up to join this programme. It's the first time that they've allowed women to be part of NASA, and she's living this dream. There's this found family aspect that I quite like. Joan forms a bond with some of the other people who are on this programme, male and female, and yeah, it's really, really like enjoyable. That's the only way I can really think to explain it. Joan is someone who is likeable, which is interesting actually, because I think with some of Taylor Jenkins Reid's other characters, they've been very unlikable, and that's not to say that she doesn't have flaws. You have this timeline in, I think it's 1986, that's when the book opens, so that's like the present day timeline, but then you're also seeing flashbacks to the past. I think it starts 7 years prior to this present day timeline, so like the late 70s, early 80s, and you're following Joan as she's beginning this programme. Some parts have been quite emotional, like more emotional than I was expecting, and I feel like this is going to be a very slow burn, and maybe the ending is going to be really impactful. I don't know what direction this book is going in. We've been building up to something. Again, I don't want to say too much on the plot because it is a new release, but yeah, I am nervous to see how this ends, but also I am so gripped every time I pick this up. It keeps me wanting to turn the page, and what else can you ask for, really? So yeah, that is going really well. I think this could be 5 stars. I don't know whether it's going to be my favourite Taylor Jenkins Reid. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was the first book that I ever read from her, and I think that is still my favourite, followed by Carrie Soto is Back. But this could be 3rd place. We'll see. I am planning on doing a video at some point where I rank all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I had planned to do it this month. We'll see if I have time because next weekend me and my partner are going away for his birthday. So any filming for videos that are going to go out during that time I need to do at some point this week, and obviously I'm working. So that's why I enjoy filming vlogs like this, because it's really easy to find the time in the week just to sit down and film a quick 5 to 10 minute clip and then edit as I go, whereas trying to find the time to film what is going to be, like, the thing is that the end video is probably going to be 20 minutes, half an hour, but it's not going to take me 20 minutes to half an hour to film. It's going to take me like an hour. I think this afternoon me and my partner are going to film that Malazan video that I mentioned. I think I mentioned it. Filming is going to happen this afternoon basically, and then I want to try and finish Atmosphere because according to my Kindle I've only got about 2 hours left. I feel like this is shorter than I was expecting. I reckon it's only about 300 pages, maybe 320, but I am really enjoying it. So that is my plan for the rest of today, and then I will check in with you tomorrow, hopefully when I finished Atmosphere. Good morning. It is Monday morning and I don't usually film this early, so the lighting is a little bit weird, but I thought I would check in with you before I start work because I finished reading Atmosphere last night and this was a 5 stars. In terms of my Taylor Jenkins Reid book ratings, I don't think I can put it above Evelyn Hugo because that was the first book that I read by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I need to reread it actually. I read it 5 years ago and I've not reread it since then, but Atmosphere, I think I'm gonna have to put it in 2nd place. I think I liked it even more than Carrie Soto. The ending was so intense and emotional. I was sobbing. Literally, I haven't cried that much at a book in the longest time. I had tears running down my face. I was ugly crying. So I have to give it 5 stars. It's one of my favourite books that I've read so far this year. And I think what I loved the most about it, obviously, like, it was a beautiful love story, but I think it was also the smaller moments that really affected me. There were several conversations conversations that these women were having. There's 4 women, I think, who have joined the space shuttle program, and there's a couple of occasions where they're talking about the pressure that they feel to do well because society sees them as representing all women who want to maybe go on to join NASA. There was another part where the main character was reflecting on, I think it was when she was a young girl and she was watching the moon landings, how little boys would watch that and feel inspired to become an astronaut, whereas as a young girl she was watching it and again felt inspired, felt like she would love to go on and become an astronaut, but she couldn't because women weren't allowed to join the space shuttle program. Whereas now this generation of women are paving the way for future generations, and everything to do with that, it affected me. Like, it made me feel really emotional. I'm going to use that word a lot. This book made me feel so emotional. I also loved the relationship that Joan had with her niece, who is quite young when the book first starts in the past timeline, but I think by the time the past timeline catches up with, I say the present day timeline, it's 1984, but by the time we catch up to the present day, her niece is, I think, around 10 years old, and just the relationship that they have, again, like, this has a big focus on family. I just thought it was really well written. I felt so much for these characters, and if I haven't said it already, there's a reason why Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of my favourite authors. So 5 stars, like I said, one of my favourite books of the year. I don't know what I want to follow that up with because that was just so intense. Anything I pick up next is maybe not going to live up to that. I feel like I need to go with a completely different vibe. So this may be a bit of a risk because I'm following up a 5 stars with a 5-star prediction, but I have Chain Gang All Stars by Nana Kwame Adehi Brenya on my TBR this month, and I really want to read this. This is a literary thriller. I think it's dystopian. In fact, yeah, I'm fairly confident it's dystopian. It's a reality TV show type plot. So inside this prison system in America, it's set in the not so distant future, and prisoners are forced to compete in order to earn their freedom, and it's streamed live for millions of viewers. So I think this has a lot of social commentary on the American prison system, which I think is going to be very interesting. It's also not too long. How long is this? Obviously I've got the hardback, so it's, yeah, 366, but I reckon it's going to read much quicker than that. I will make a start on this hopefully this evening, and then I will give you some initial thoughts tomorrow. In terms of what else I have planned today, nothing. I'm about to start work in like 2 minutes. Apparently we're going to have a heat wave in the UK this week again, which I'm not excited about. Like I said, it's 5 to 9 in the morning and I think it's already over 20 degrees, so I will be melting for most of today, but it's fine because, yeah, other than work, I don't really have plans. I have also started a new knitting project, which I haven't shown you yet, I don't think, in a vlog, so at some point this week I will show you that as well. I think I showed this book recently in a different reading vlog, but my stepmom recently got me this new knitted Animal Friends pattern book and I really wanted to try one of them out. So the one that I'm currently working on is Tilly the Hare. I am going to change this outfit because I'm not the biggest fan of the dress and the cardigan. The way that the patterns are worked, you can basically mix and match. So the one that I want to make, if I can skip through and find it, I really want to make these dungarees because I think they're so cute. I am going to show you the progress that I've made so far, but please know I am a fairly confident knitter. I've learned some new stitches just from doing this, but I'm not the best sewer, so please don't judge me. But this is the progress that I've made so far. I've done one ear, obviously the head and the body, and then I've done one very long leg. This took me ages because this is basically like stocking stitch. It was nearly 70 rows and it took me ages and it was quite boring, so I'm putting off making the next leg. I think I'm going to make the next ear soon, and yeah, I'm really happy so far. I think it looks cute, or it's going to look cute once it's done. Good morning, happy Tuesday. I did indeed make a start on Chain Gang All Stars last night. I read the first 50 to 60 pages. I'm on page 54, so not too far in. Already I am liking this. It's intriguing. I feel like is the wrong word. It's not really a book that you read for enjoyment. I'm sure at some point I heard someone compare this to Squid Games, and I don't think that's completely accurate. We're basically set in the not so distant future, and prisoners, I'm assuming of violent crimes, are allowed to, instead of serving their sentence, they can enter this program where they'll fight each other one-on-one to eventually earn their freedom. So the main character is called Loretta Thurwar, and she is a fan favourite. She is approaching her 3-year anniversary of joining this programme, and that's when you can earn your freedom. So she's very close to the finish line. We're following a few different characters, but she is, I would say, the main character alongside her girlfriend, Hurricane Stacks. Within these first 50 pages, we've also had the perspective of someone who is in the crowd watching one of these matches, as well as a protester, because there are protests happening against this. So yeah, it's intriguing so far. Like I said, it's not quite what I was expecting, because when I heard the comparison to Squid Games, I thought that the prisoners would be competing as teams, or not even as teams, but I was expecting, like Squid Games, that there would be varying challenges, whereas this is literally like they're fighting one-on-one in an arena and there's a crowd watching. So now I understand that. I just wanted to mention it in case anyone else was thinking the same thing. The only thing I'm not sure on is the writing, and I don't know whether I'm going to do a very good job of explaining this, but it's told in third person POV. So you'll have a chapter that will be told from a character's perspective, or obviously it's in third person, but it will be focusing on the main character, for example. But then very briefly, it will seem to switch perspective to like the commentator, and it will talk about what they're thinking and feeling, and it's all in third person, but it just feels a bit jarring. That's the only thing that has taken me a while to get used to. But otherwise, like I said, very interested to keep on reading, and hopefully I can read another 100 pages this evening. I had every intention of catching up with you yesterday. I even took my camera to work with me. I was going to pop out on my lunch break and find somewhere to film in my car. However, that didn't happen. First of all, because I was stressed out about what I was going to do for lunch. I left my debit card at home and I don't have contactless on my phone, so I had to order something through the Just Eat app and then go out and collect it. So that was a whole thing. And then it was also boiling. There is no way I would have been able to sit in my car without the aircon on, and then there wouldn't have been any point because you wouldn't have been able to hear me over the aircon, so it didn't happen. I thought I would just check in with you today instead. It's currently Thursday. I've just realised I've left my book in the other room, so I'm gonna go and grab that. I'm not quite halfway through Chain Gang All Stars. I think I'm probably about 40% of the way through, and this is really good. I think I mentioned I was struggling a little bit with the writing style. This to me feels like literary fiction. It reads like literary fiction. It's quite experimental in terms of the writing. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I just ran into the other room. You have parts that are told in third person, but then there's also chapters that are told in first person. We're moving around all of these different perspectives, and it's building this bigger picture. I do feel like this is more character driven rather than it being about the social commentary. It's definitely there because we're seeing how these different characters feel. There are protesters, there are people who love this sport, as they call it, and then you also have the contestants. Is contestants even the right word? The gladiators, like the people, the prisoners who are competing. You have these chains which are essentially groups formed from, I guess, various prisons, and there's a lot of respect. Like the younger people who are joining this program, they have respect for the people who have moved their way up in terms of the different rankings. So there's the main character who is like the highest rank that you can become before you're freed. The character interactions are really interesting. I think that this is a very well done book. I'm at the end of part 1, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen in part 2. I want to see more of this protest that's happening, like the people who are protesting against this. I'm hoping that we delve more into that. I have also made a little more progress with The Kill List, which is the audiobook that I'm listening to. I managed to listen to a little bit of this on the way to and from work, but as I said, it was so hot I had to have the windows down, and it's quite a graphic book in places, so I was very aware that people might be able to hear the audiobook and think, what is she listening to? I think I'm about 40% of the way through, and this is also very character driven. It reminds me of watching a TV show. It's not really action driven is what I will say, which is why I wouldn't, I mean, I guess you could consider it a thriller, but it depends on what you consider a thriller, because you are following these characters who are involved in this investigation, but sometimes as the reader you get more information than the characters, and then it's a very slow process to see them work up to finding out what you already know. I do feel like the characters are interesting though, and it's a very like easy audiobook to listen to because it's the third book in a series, and I actually read the first book physically and then I switched to the audiobooks. Maybe it helped that I did have the physical copy when I read the first book. I think I did immersion reading, so I read it with my eyeballs while also listening to the audiobook, and I think that really helped me get into the story. So yeah, I'm hoping that I'm going to finish this at some point next week because I'm going up to York and Newcastle for my partner's birthday. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet in the vlog. I would like this vlog to go live on Sunday. Technically, I should end the vlog here because it's been a week since I started this vlog and I wanted this to be a realistic week in my life. So I will put on the screen the number of pages that I've read, including converting audiobook hours into actual pages, so you can see how much I've realistically read this week. But I am going to, I think, finish Chain Gang All Stars in the next couple of days. So because I want this vlog to go live on Sunday, I have until Saturday morning to give you a final update. I just don't want to leave things open-ended, even though I will talk about this in my wrap-up. I think it would be better if I don't leave you hanging and I actually tell you what I think of this. So I will try and finish this within the next couple of days, which I think I will based on the speed that I've been reading this at. I'm really regretting my decision to extend this vlog by a few days because it is the hottest day of the year. My brain isn't working properly. I've already tried to film this update several times and it hasn't gone well, but I did promise you that I would bring you some final thoughts on Chain Gang All Stars. I finished this earlier today. It's currently Saturday. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I will bring you a proper review for this in my wrap up at the end of the month. But if you want to know my star rating, I'm giving this 4 stars. I think the second half was a lot stronger than the first half. The last time I spoke to you, I think I was about 40% of the way through, and I was struggling a little bit with the writing. I think because it's a little more literary than I was expecting, it took me a while to get used to it, but once I was into the story, I was into it. You have this main plot that's following a group of, they're called links, and a group of links is called a chain. The way that the program works, you have these battles in these stadiums that people can pay to go and watch. Then you have this reality TV show that follows the links in between matches as they're traveling from city to city, and it was those parts that I really appreciated. I think those parts humanized the characters and it meant that you got to know them individually as well as see the group dynamic. There are footnotes throughout this that give you some extra context on the characters themselves and the different terminology, the world within this dystopian society, but also there are real statistics. I'm assuming they're real statistics on the American prison system, which gives more depth and more understanding as to the social and political commentary. There are these side characters and these side plots that also weave into the main story, and I think that that was handled really smoothly. The ending, I think, is very thought-provoking. I had to read it a few times to make sure that I'd understood it, and then I also googled to make sure that my understanding was the same as what other people were understanding. I think I followed it. I think this would be a really good book to read as part of a book club. I think you would have a lot that you can discuss, so would recommend this if you are looking for a literary dystopian. I am going to wrap up this vlog here because it's so hot in this room. Thank you for watching this vlog. If you have made it this far, let me know in the comments what have you been reading this week, because this vlog was intended to be a realistic week in my reading life. I think this was pretty average for me. I read about 600 pages in total over the week and I usually read about 700, so 600 makes sense considering I didn't really read that much last Saturday. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, click subscribe if you would like to see more videos from me, but otherwise I will see you next time. Bye!